Hello, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to my channel, MMA Normie, and Happy New Year to everybody. We're finally back with fights. I'm happy to be back. I hope you are as well, and I hope you had a real nice New Year. So, we had the first card of the year, Giga Chikadze versus Kelvin Kattar. What a fantastic main event. I mean, I loved it. I hope you guys loved it as well. I have so much to say about that fight. That fight was just full of action, and it just showed how talented the top half of 145 pounds is, and it just goes to show you how Max Holloway and Volkanovski are just a step above everyone else in the division, even though everyone else behind them are so good as well. Like, for example, Kelvin Kattar here. The type of performance that he put on last Saturday was just amazing. I mean, Giga Chikadze, commiserations to him. He really had no answers to Kelvin Kattar when it comes to this fight. Kelvin Kattar almost, it seemed like he learned something from the Max Holloway fight and decided, you know what, I'm going to be on the other side of that fight now. I'm going to be Max Holloway against Giga Chikadze, and that's exactly what he did. Let's discuss this fight. I mean, I love this. Basically, if you really break it down into styles, then this fight was more of a kicker versus boxer dynamic. Kelvin Kattar being a really good boxer, and Giga Chikadze, he relies on his kicks more than he does on his hands, and he's got nice hands, no doubt about it, but Giga's kicks are his real power tools, and unfortunately for him, in this fight, Kelvin Kattar found a way. He found a way to actually nullify Giga's kicks. If we go back to round one of this fight, you would notice Giga Chikadze is noticeably faster than Kelvin Kattar. That's one of the first thing I really noticed when this fight started. Giga was faster than Kattar. He was really throwing a lot of leg kicks to start the fight. He would step off to the side, circle out, and as Kelvin would try to close the distance on him, he would land just clean left straights, and those would be really fast. That was one of the things that really caught my eye in the beginning. I thought, oh my god, this guy is for real, right? And you can see he kept throwing leg kicks even more. At least for the first 2 minutes of the fight, it really looked like it was a one-way traffic in favor of Giga, but I think it was somewhere around 2 minute 30 seconds mark or something. Somewhere around that point, he went for a roundhouse kick to the head. He completely missed and slipped. And Kelvin Kattar, you can just see he would not miss that opportunity. He pounced on Giga like his life depended on it. And Giga tried to get up. He got up, but Kelvin immediately grabbed a hold of him, took him down, put him on the ground, and almost for the majority of that round kept Giga Chikadze on the ground. There was a nice scramble while they were on the ground, and for a short while actually Giga Chikadze almost reversed position on Kelvin Kattar, and putting Kattar on his back, but during the transition itself, Kelvin Kattar actually managed to secure an arm triangle, and anybody who has grappled in his life would tell you it's really difficult to finish an arm triangle from the bottom position. So Kelvin Kattar did something really smart with that position. He used the arm triangle to trap Giga towards his left side, and then he managed to scoot his hips out slowly and then transition over to Giga's back and take Giga Chikadze's back from there. And he immediately secured the back control with body lock with his legs, and from there on, for that round, Calvin Kattar pretty much had Giga in trouble. He could not get off too many powerful ground and pound shots, but when he took Giga down, Giga really used a lot of energy to get up from there, and Calvin actually managed to keep Giga down on the ground, and I think that drained Giga. We've never seen Giga being on the ground for extended period of time, at least not before this fight. So I think it really drained him, and it was quite visible when he went back to his corner. Calvin was really confident at the end of the round one, and Giga clearly did not have the best round, and he started off really well. And the way he started, I thought he was definitely going to win the first round, and who knows, he might be going for a knockout soon. And then just around 2.5 minute mark or so, everything turned around. Calvin Kattar was the clear better grappler. He managed to get off some ground and pound, but not anything too heavy. But he managed to put pressure on Giga, and because of that, I think Giga Chikadze, not being an experienced grappler himself, I think he kind of lost a lot of steam during that little ground exchange. Then we come back to round 2, and one of the interesting things Giga did was he would fire these left roundhouse kicks to Calvin Kattar's body off of Calvin's retreat. He would set up a feint. Giga would. He would set up a feint and make Calvin retreat, and off of his retreat, he would just fire off this left kick right to Calvin's liver, which was really on point. And I'm surprised Calvin never looked like he got hurt. I mean, that man has got a chin on him. That man's body can absorb some kicks as well. I mean, that guy's tough, really tough. Giga landed a really good body kick that did not seem to bother Calvin Kattar that much, and off of that left body kick in one of the exchanges, Giga actually went for a blitzing right hook left straight combination, and I don't know, most people would get hurt, maybe even get dropped by that. It was fast, it landed on target, and Calvin did not even seem bothered by it. I was shocked. That was one of the moments when I looked at what Giga was doing, and I was like, this is not going well, is it? His power clearly does not bother Calvin Kattar. I mean, even if it did, he really had a great poker face to the point that it did not seem like it bothered Calvin Kattar at all. That was a really, really nice combination, man. Giga Chikadze went for a feint. Calvin Kattar reacted with a retreat, and Giga Chikadze immediately fired off a left kick, landed right on the target on the liver, and off of that went for a blitzing right hook, left straight combination, landed all of it, and got no reaction out of Calvin Kattar. I mean, that's discouraging, man. He had such a nice combination there. I remember that. And right after it, Calvin Kattar really went for the pressure. He totally went for the pressure, and you can see at points Calvin was switching stance, but initially I could not really find any meaning to it because it wasn't really achieving anything. But later on, he actually would use the stance switch effectively to cut off Giga from moving from one direction to another. He managed to do that, and then he would switch back into orthodox and land something on Giga while he was circling towards Calvin Kattar's left side. Giga would start circling towards Calvin's right. He would switch to southpaw, intercept Giga on his way, and Giga, in order to protect himself, he would immediately start switching to Calvin's left, and then Calvin would switch back to his orthodox stance and start firing jabs again. He did that later on, but In the initial stages in round 2, he would switch stance. Kelvin would. That did not really have much meaning to it initially, but later on, obviously, it turned out to be a strategic decision. And Kelvin was putting real pressure on it. He would have his guards up for Giga's right straight, sometimes left straight. He would have his up, and Giga would switch stance, throw right straight, and initially Kelvin would have no reaction except to have his guards up. But if Giga tries to do that same attack twice repeatedly, second time Kelvin would have a real good reaction to it. Like, he would slip and fire off an uppercut himself that would land clean on Giga Chikadze. That was one of the repeating patterns of that fight. Kelvin Kattar, it seems like whenever somebody throws a particular strike at him, his first reaction is to block it. But if somebody tries that same punch or the same kick again, he seems to have immediately formed a good response to it, good defensive response, especially with punches. If you go after Kelvin Kattar and you land a nice left straight first time and you saw that, okay, you landed it clean, let's throw that again. Well, the first time you'll land it, second time Kelvin would most likely slip your left straight, come back up with left hook of his own, or maybe slip and then go for a right uppercut on you. Just good variety, but not in the initial strike. Just during the follow-up strikes, Kelvin would have good reactions to it. That was one of the repeating patterns from Kelvin Kattar. Make whatever of it you will, I guess. Will it be significant in his upcoming fights? I don't know. Maybe it could be significant in the sense that his opponents might not, decide to throw the same strike repeatedly, even if they found success with it. And if that happens, I don't know how Kelvin Kattar would, adjust to that. But for this fight, it has happened quite some time that Giga would sometimes throw a right straight, Kelvin would eat it, then Giga would repeat the same strike again. This time Kelvin would immediately slip and come back with an uppercut or come back with a left hook. That was really good. That was really smart from Kelvin Kattar, and he caught Giga with a nice uppercut as well. And one of the main things about the second round was that the fight, that second round particularly, could be easily divided into two parts. The first 3 minutes of that round and the last 2 minutes. First 3 minutes, you'd see Giga Chikadze continuously firing heavy offense, even though he's on the back foot. He was firing offense, he was accurate, he was landing a lot of shots, and then the last 2 minutes came and Giga Chikadze kind of fell apart. Chikadze really fell apart. His casting totally suffered. It was almost empty, to the point that Kattar started being really accurate in the last 2 minutes or so. He would land a lot of tips to Giga's body, I think, which drained Giga's stamina even further. And then he would throw this really nice combination against the cage. He would go for a right straight and then a left hook, a left elbow on Giga, which he landed a couple of times, and it kind of cut Giga Chikadze up. I think you all have seen the photo on Instagram of Giga Chikadze and Kelvin Kattar together. Kattar looked like he had no marks on his face, and Giga looks like he just got hit by a train. So those elbows were real damaging moves, man. Those elbows were real from Kelvin Kattar. So coming up to round 3, Kelvin Kattar totally continued on with his pressure. He would throw this unique jab uppercut combination that seemed to land quite a few times on Giga Chikadze. He did not have a good response to it. Calvin Kattar would go for a jab and immediately fire an uppercut after it, and it seemed to land every time, which was very interesting. And off of that uppercut, Calvin would transition to a clinch positions, and from the clinch threat, he would really fire off good knees to Giga's body. I think that drained his gas tank even further. And off of the break, Calvin Kattar tried to throw elbows on Giga Chikadze, a lot of which have landed on his face. And also, one of the interesting things Calvin Kattar did during the third round was attacking with elbows from open space, which is something you don't really see most opponents attempt. Most fighters don't attempt it, from open position. They would rather punch, but Calvin Kattar would go with really these elbows that you do not necessarily expect, and they landed a lot of times on Giga Chikadze. That was very unorthodox from Calvin Kattar. And one of the good responses I noticed during the third round was Giga Chikadze's right hook. Giga would be standing in southpaw position, and Calvin would try to intercept him with his jab from his orthodox position, and Giga would seem to slip to Calvin's inside, and then he would come up with a right hook over the top. That seemed to land a couple of times, and Giga seemed to have a really good steam behind his punches, but at no point did Calvin Kattar look bothered by them. It was weird. I mean, I expected him to get hurt. He just was never hurt. It just doesn't happen very often, guys. Calvin Kattar is a special beast. He can take a shot. I mean, that was insane. Then Giga Chikadze here and there would actually land good left straights with really, really tight connection, and that didn't seem to bother Calvin too much either. I'm sure he shattered his nose at some point because it looked like it broke. I don't know though. I don't really have any confirmation regarding it. So Kattar, on the other hand, also seemed to be really proactive with his jab during this round, which really opened up his right straight, and he landed the right straight a couple of times on Giga. I would say Calvin Kattar was mostly a headhunter. He went to the body a couple of times, especially with his tip kicks, which he would land towards the end of the round every time for some reason. I don't know. Calvin also had a real interesting counter to Giga's blitzing style of strikes. Giga would sometimes come up with right hook, left straight combination. Calvin would do this lean back defense to his to Giga's right hook, and then Giga would immediately come up with a left straight, to which Calvin would slip to the outside of the left straight, and off of it, when Giga is coming towards Calvin with forward momentum, Calvin would catch Giga with a spinning back elbow that lands flush on Giga's face. I don't know how he did not get knocked out from this, but I mean, that landed hard. Giga also seems to have a chin on him as well. That was really, really impressive. And one of the things that really caught my eyes was the fact that Kattar would constantly jab to open up his right hand, and even though he missed a lot of his jabs, and he landed a lot of them as well, but even though he missed them, that really opened up his right hand, and he was really, really active with his right straight. That one landed a lot of times, and that's a power shot, guys. That's a power shot. He landed those right straights beautifully on Giga's face. And sometimes Giga would occasionally set up a body kick and a head kick right after it, but Kelvin seems to have good awareness of it. He ate a lot of body kick, but he always had his guard up for the head kick, so that was good, I guess. Never got hit with a clean head kick. And whenever Giga would throw a straight right, Kelvin would do this pullback counter with his left hook that seemed to land on Giga a lot of times. And by the fourth round, one of the interesting things that Calvin Kattar did was he would pressure on Giga Chikadze and use a leaping uppercut as a means of closing the distance. The uppercut would land a lot of times, and even if it didn't, Calvin Kattar would close the distance off of it and threaten a takedown on Giga Chikadze, pushing him back towards the cage. And whether Calvin Kattar gets the takedown or not, he manages to land knees and elbows off of it anyway. So that was a very smart, idea by Calvin Kattar, but a risky bet nonetheless. I mean, who uses uppercuts as a lead strike? I mean, that's risky, but it paid off well for Calvin Kattar. He timed it really well as well. He was using the uppercut as a distance closer a lot of the times, especially in the round 4. And one really, really nice combination that caught my eye in round 4 was this jab, right straight, left elbow combination. I think he did it twice or thrice maybe. Landed so clean once. I mean, it's hats off to Giga that he did not lose his consciousness off of it, to say the least. And in between his attacks, when Calvin was pressuring Giga, he would try to throw these deep kicks here and there to the body. Because he was pressuring the kicker so heavily, I think it opened up opportunities for kicking for Calvin Kattar himself, and he took advantage of it. Not too much, but sometimes, especially with the deep kicks to the bodies, he did take full advantage of it. Could have taken more maybe, but it is what it is. And he landed some good tip kicks on Giga Chikadze, even in championship rounds. Coming to the last round, I guess, Giga Chikadze in the last round looked very rejuvenated to begin the round. He would start kicking again. He would throw body kicks, 1-2 hook combos from the orthodox position, then switch to southpaw, then throw a body kick again. That was very interesting, and I think he threw 1 or 2 leg kicks as well. Then Kattar started pressuring him back again, and once he got Giga to trap himself against the cage, he started looking for accurate left hooks against the cage. He landed a clean left hook off of the cage, I remember. That was really nice. He would then chase Giga with jabs and land with these right straights that are so powerful. That was very impressive. Then once he closes the distance in the clinch range, he would throw elbows on Giga whenever he's trapped against the cage. That was really, really impressive. He really used elbows and jabs as a means of pressure building on Giga, which was very interesting. Especially elbows, the way he used it, it's almost like he was using elbows as punching combinations. Like, he would throw these uppercut elbows followed by these hooking style elbows, which was the normal way of throwing elbows, I guess. He would throw all kinds of elbows on Giga, and he would land most of it too. And whenever Giga tries to pressure him with punching combinations, he would slip one of the left straights to the outside and immediately throw a spinning elbow at Giga that would seem to find home every time. That was really damaging in my opinion, and he towards the end of the round he ended up hurting Giga Chikadze, dropping him, and then started landing ground and pound on Giga Chikadze, and that was basically the end of the 5th round. Calvin Kattar clearly won all 5 rounds of this competition. He was very effective with his attacks, and Giga Chikadze was never really out of this fight, but he never really won anything. If you go back and look at the scorecard, it was 50-45, 50-45, and 50-44 in favor of Calvin Kattar. You'd think it was a total shutdown, but it really wasn't. It was a war with both men shining in spots, but obviously Calvin shined way more than Giga did. And even though it was a clear 50-45, it was competitive 5 rounds throughout, and it was really an enjoyable fight. I loved it. I think if you guys saw it, you guys loved it as well. From that we move on to, oh my god, no. It's Jake Collier versus Sherman. Guys, it's a heavyweight fight that ended in a rear naked choke. I mean, okay, rear naked choke is kind of a rarity in heavyweight, I guess. But we're not going to talk about this fight. It wasn't very interesting to me. And from that we go to Brandon Royval versus what is this, Rogerio Bontorian? I don't know. I totally missed this fight actually. I fell asleep. It was morning. It was really early morning, so I kind of fell asleep. I totally missed the fight. Then I was awake, unfortunately, for Katlyn Chookagian versus Jennifer Maia fight. I think I blame this particular fight for putting me to sleep during the Royval versus Rogerio Bontorian fight. It was a boring fight. Katlyn Chookagian did Katlyn Chookagian things, totally maintaining distance from the outside, being effective from range, and Jennifer Maia just looking bewildered, trying to start a brawl but never really succeeding because Katlyn Chookagian was never really out of position for it. It was a really one-sided decision win. Very, very typical Katlyn Chookagian fight. I did not really enjoy it much. Like I said, I blame this fight for putting me to sleep during the Royval fight, which I heard was a really competitive fight. I'll go back and watch it. I really haven't had the time because this has been a very busy week, but this fight was really boring. And before that, I saw a really impressive fight from what's his face again? Borshchev, yeah. Dakota Bush versus what's his name? Vyacheslav Borshchev, I guess. Vyacheslav Borshchev. My God, I tried, guys. Whatever. Borshchev versus Bush. That was really interesting. That was, Bush came out really aggressive from the beginning. He had a takedown heavy game. Initially, even managed to take Borshchev down, but Borshchev got up every time, and seemed like after a while he also figured out how to defend himself against Bush as well. Then through his anti-wrestling, he started pressuring back on Bush, and against the cage he landed this clean left hook. I mean, I did not even see it. I was like, what happened? Did he land something to Bush's head? Like, what happened? The way Bush folded, I was just confused for a second. I could not notice the left hook, but when the camera showed it in slow motion in the replay, and I saw how clean that left hook to the liver was. I was like, oh my god, that guy is impressive. First of all, I saw Boschev having a really good takedown defense. Not initially, but he seemed to get up whenever he got taken down, and then over time he seemed to have a good feeling for Bush's wrestling attacks, and he started to shut him down. So I think Boschev could be a promising contender of the future. Not right now, but in future, I don't know. Keep an eye out for this guy. He really, timed a beautiful liver shot off of a failed takedown attempt from Boschev. Really interesting. Cannot spell his last name correctly. So from that, we move to the first fight of the main card, which Bill Algio versus Joe Anderson Brito. I enjoyed this fight personally. I really liked this fight. It was a very action-packed fight in my opinion. Brito from the get-go looked very, very aggressive, and he would make so many takedown attempts on Algio. Algio overall actually showed good defense. At times he had this weird defense to Brito's takedown attempts, where he would take his left hand underneath Brito's legs, and he would grab his right hand on top of Brito's legs, essentially grabbing in between Brito, trapping his hands in between Brito's legs, and whenever he got taken down, he used that to reverse the position. That was impressive, I guess, and unorthodox. Usually most people would go for a switch. It wasn't even a switch. It was something different, but it seemed to work for him, so I guess that's nice. And the way Brito took Algio's back, I thought he won round one, to be honest though. But Algio seemed really sharper with his hand, and come second round he showed a better sprawl as well. Good knees off of the clinch, good strike up top whenever they were breaking from the clinch. That was impressive, and Brito seemed tired. Brito seemed tired during the fight. He even gave up side control, but recovered, got up, then got really brutalized by Algio's knees when he got up. And I think the third round, mostly Algio just took over from Brito. He just took over, and instead of Brito, going for takedown attempts, it was Algio who would push for takedowns in the third round, being more effective in the clinch, in the wrestling part against Brito, against the cage, and he took the round with better activity compared to Brito during the third round. I scored this fight 29-28 in favor of Algio. I thought Brito won the first round, and then Algio finally managed to take over the second and third round. One of the judges gave this fight a 30-27. I don't know how, because Brito had Algio's back, first round. How do you not give the round to Algio? Brito. I don't know. But either way, I thought the deserving candidate won. Algio deserved to win this fight, and he won this fight. He seemed to do much better in the second and third round compared to the first. His defense seemed to improve during the second round, and then during the third round he started being offensive with his wrestling as well. So it was an impressive performance from Algio, and I think Brito really needs to work on his stamina a little bit more than he usually does. with that, we come to the conclusion, and I really had a blast watching fights because I have been missing it for a while now. I'm sure you guys were missing it as well. I hope you guys liked it. Now, if you guys like to hear my thoughts on fights, please subscribe to my channel, share this video, like this video, and let your friends know about it. Let them come to my podcast and let them know what they feel. Let me know how you feel in the comment section as well. Comment on it, and click that bell icon for future notifications. With this, MMA Normie signing off tonight. I hope you had a good New Year celebration, and for those living here in Assam, happy Bihu as well. Thank you.